Hey, honey, it's Steve. How's everybody doing? It's afternoon. I kind of rolled out of bed a little later this afternoon. My dogs got me up at 4 o'clock, and they found something outside. I don't know, and I went out there to see what they're barking about. And that burn, there's a turtle running right there behind the my dog pen back there, and every one of them had to bark at it. So they didn't know. They ain't never seen a turtle before. I guess I don't know. But anyway, cut it short. About like I said, I try to bring city council to you. Just an observation from me. I was the only one there. There was no one else there except for all the council members were accounted for, um, and we had the individuals that needed to be there either. Except we didn't have anybody show up from the community, um, and I guess that's getting to be par for the course or whatever. But what I'm getting ready to tell you right now, I think maybe it might light a fire under some of your people's butt. Based on this was a workshop. One of the questions I was asking about the city property issues, most of the city property issues that were discussed were on um, the ball fields and how it affected um, our our leagues and the select leagues and those kind of things. And we're trying to make it fair for those guys because apparently, I believe maybe it's the impression I got was maybe last year or maybe the last couple of years they've had been issues with some of these select teams, and basically because these select teams, you got to pay, so they think they're better than everybody else, so they have pretty much put the attitude that they should come first and give precedence. Well, city council last night kind of came to a conclusion, and they're going to vote on it. I'm just not saying this is actually it, but they're going to vote on, because what they're trying to say is what they'd like to have is that our softball girls can take priority over our boys, okay, from Huntington, and also the select teams, which they would come in last. So in other words, there's a lot more opportunities for the select teams, and they don't have to rely on Huntington. They can practice anywhere. They've got people playing die ball. You can go. You can go a lot of ballparks and find some place to practice. I mean, that's what we're talking about is practice. The games, are another issue. But anyway, the lighting issue and turning the lights on and off, and when we're going to do that, is basically the issue, and if whether we want to go ahead and take over the whole 9 yards. Um, that's basically what the subject of matter is, and then it's a lot of stuff to go over, and they've got a lot to consider on taking it over or not taking it over, and how they want to run it if we do take it over. Um, Centennial Park, the park, Civic Center, those kind of things, nothing really changed. Um, However, the issue has not been brought up that they're going to need. They want to have the times, but they want to have for Centennial Park, they want to have people come in and sign up and pay a fee to utilize Centennial Park, which would actually open up the bathrooms while you're there. Now, two ways of looking at it is one that what do people do? Just want to go around the park, walk around, and go sit down, have a sandwich or whatever. I mean, what happens when they need to go to the bathroom? Um, the simple answer is just post a time when the park's going to be open and closed, and people can make their arrangements to go, schedule their event or whatever around the bathrooms. But the other issue is that where I found the problem was the question was asked by one of the city council members: is that what if I want to have a birthday party for my daughter or my kid up there at Centennial Park, and they said, well, you need to go ahead and fill out the paperwork, and you need to fill out the fine, and you need to pay for the deposit and all the 9 yards or whatever. And I think that goes a bit too far. I mean, it's not a big major scheduled event. There's a lot of room out there, and um, there's got to be a better way of making people pay for their children's birthday party or some little party that they've got. I don't think we should charge for birthday parties, just my opinion. But anyway, that's where we're at on city council on that. The other park, yeah, the city park, the lights go on, and they don't have lights, so it goes off. I mean, anyway, it locks up at dark. Police lock that up at dark or whatever. So there really no major changes. It's just little nitpick areas where they're going to charge, trying to charge for the lights being used, and what they don't want to have is lights being on and nobody being out there, or bathrooms being open and nobody being out there. So they're considering a lot of options on that. And that's before the city council, and they're going to make a determination on what they're getting ready to go. I assume that this is going to be done next meeting. I assume, but they may table some of these issues because they are pretty intense. Now, the majority of this video is going to be on nuts and bolts. I didn't really do a lot of hardcore research on the ballparks or whatever, or the city property, because basically it is what it is. It's either we continue to do it like we always do it, and there's no major changes to it at all. So um, the only thing that the city council hasn't thought about is the parking. I mean, that's going to become an issue, and that's going to become an issue down the road. But the majority of this video is going to be put on. If you looked at your agenda, then the second issue was utilities. Okay. Well, I know some of on here, some people on here were advised by calling in the city council that it wasn't going to be a discussion on utilities. It was going to be a discussion on the utilities of the lights for the ball fields and stuff, which was not the case. This issue that we came up with, or they come up with, was basically for your water utilities and how much is going to be charged. Now, let me give you a little background. I had an individual ask me about one of the wells, well number 4, I believe. Well, and we all know, if you've been paying attention, that we are now in the hole on our budget because of the fact is that we didn't plan for the number 3 well to go out, and we didn't plan for the repairs that we needed to be made, because there's no way. I mean, you can't put this on city council. They don't. There's no way they know what's going to go out, when it's going to go out, and they don't know how bad the damage is when it does go out. So you're basically between a rock and a hard place. However, it doesn't change the issue. The issue is, the fact is that the number 3 well has been repaired. There was a $156,000 grant. I believe it was 156,000, maybe 100,000. I'm getting $156,000 that we got in a grant to repair that well, and that was pretty much the max we could get as far as a grant. Well, out of $150,000, and it going toward the well, we're over budget on that. About right now, about $39,000, which was taken last meeting, that they took $50,000 out of the investment fund to get out of the hole. Basically, I don't know if they. I don't know. I assume that $50,000 just went to the people who are um, um, repairing it and making the repairs. Now, I know, as well as you do, probably what they're doing in past administrations. And what we got caught up in is the fact that the last administrations, they didn't want to deal with the water situation because it was going to cost money. And there was a possibility that we were going to have to raise utility rates to actually keep the upkeep on it, to keep it actually, up to date with changes and things that need to be fixed gradually, or things that go out, to update the system every year, basically, to get the proper life out of it. Well, what's happened in the past is past administrations have just kicked that can down the road and didn't. And in order to save money or whatever, and not go up on utility rates, they just pretty much said, cross their fingers, and hope so. Well, ain't nothing going to happen to it this year. Nothing happened to it last year. Ain't nothing going to happen to it this year. Well, dang, if it didn't catch up to us, and they done kicked the can down the road long enough, and we out of the road. So we now, as a community, are going to be responsible for getting this back up to par. Getting it back up to where we can have water. And I've made it one about drinking water and the quality of our water. Seems like nobody cares about the quality of our water. That ain't no information back or anybody feedback. So I guess that's maybe not a concern for most of the people. But they are proposing a utility hike. Now, the issue was thrown out to be 9.875 or something along that, or maybe $9 basically, they're going to add on to your current water bill. So in other words, whatever amount you're using, then you automatically put $10 on top of that. Um, and that would be one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, they're going to work this amount into the gallons that you're using. So in other words, you're going to be paying more per gallon than you normally would. Basically, they're considering, and I don't want to throw numbers out there that these are numbers that were discussed. There's no decision being made on those, but they are looking at the actual fee that they need to put on the utilities to encompass or to catch up to some of these for some of these repairs that are being done as of now. And they're also trying to get a reserve for our water system, because the fact is that the issue is right now is basically we're going to have to your utility rates on your water are going to go up. Okay, the amount okay basically is going to be negotiated between the city council, and since we don't go to the city council meters and we don't put our input in, then you just got to get what you can get. You'll get your raise without your input and things of this nature. So in other words, utilities are going to raise, and they're going to go. Your water bill is going to get raised. Everything else is going to stay the same, except your water bill will get raised, determining on long-term effects of how long that it will take to recoup the amount of money that we got for these repairs that are going on, and also to prepare for the future. Because on this number 3 well, okay, there is a prediction, or I don't know where he got the number, the city manager. I don't mean to misquote him, I don't, but anyway, doing his figures and adding it all up, doing the Common Core math and everything, what he came out with is that, what, in 2020, okay, we're not going to be able to maintain that well. And if something catastrophic happens to that well, God forbid, then it's going to cost us $1.3 million to drill another well. Now that's just drilling the well. That's not hooking everything up. That's just drilling the well. Okay. And the bottom line is the city ain't got it. There's no way we could prepare for a new well at $1.3 million, because the fact is we didn't expect it. Now, so our dilemma right now is, okay, how long do we believe that this number 3 well is going to hold? Well, that depends on a lot of things: quality of craftsmanship, the actual repairs that were being made, the actual equipment, or the actual tools, or the actual material that we actually put into this well to make it operational again. It has been said that whenever they completed, okay, this well, that if anything else happens to this well, they cannot repair this well again. So we're up against having to go with the $1.3 million to dig a new well for this well. So right now, okay, we are in a rock and a hard place, because the fact is that we determine on how we want to keep this well or not. I mean, and how much we want to invest in this well to make it as good as we possibly can right now, but also prepare for the future in case that well does go down. Where are we going to, we got to come up with the money somewhere. So yes, your utility rates will go up. What number, I can't tell you right now. There was a lot of numbers discussed. The baseline was discussed, but then the discussion was back and forth. We need to consider this, consider that. So everybody's getting their head together and figuring out what the actual rate is going to be. But I agree with the city council. We've got to raise rates to encompass the damage that's already been done in the past by past administrations, and by the damage that has been done, and also the fact is what happens if this well goes out, because we're going to be up, excuse my pun, but shit creek. So we're in between rock and hard place on that one, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have called for, I think everybody read my email, I mean my note to, or my post to the city, and Um, the utilities was a hard call, and we are going to have to make that call. And as the mayor said, you know what? Let's do it all at once. Have them bitch one time instead of bitching every year. Well, I know that's unprofessional, but that's what the mayor said, and basically it is right. I mean, they are really considering the backlash this is going to have in the city about um, raising utility rates. Now, don't think for any shape, form, or fashion that this utility rate increase is going to be going for the road repair. No, it's not. It's only going to be going for this well. Okay, if we wanted to include just improved roads right now, then you know what? We'd have to raise our water bills even higher. Um, Sewer bills we're never going to break even on. Sewer bill is going to be we're going to be lacking on that every year, so we consider that we make up the difference in the water bill. Now, worst case scenario, let's put it this way, is that if this well goes out, there's going to be a period of time there that we've got to take to drill the well, the new well. Um, that depends on the contractor who's doing how long it's going to last. Anyway, there's going to be a period of time there. Now, during that period of time, it's going to be questionable whether we'll be able to drink our water or not, and if we will have enough pressure to supply everybody with the water. Because, like I said, we got 3 wells. Okay, we can draw off. I think there's 4 wells now. We can draw off. We can draw off 3, and they put one back online, number 4 back online. So we can draw from 4 wells right now. Take the number 3 well offline while we're doing construction. Um, we don't know if this is going to affect the other wells. We haven't seen the bid on that. We don't know what the repercussions will be when we have to go in and drill this other well, or how long that our water supply is going to be drinkable, or are we going to have to do the boil water notice, or are we going to have to do something else to compensate in that time when we're drilling this well? That is an issue that could come up as well. Um, how does that affect you or whatever? Well, the fact is that if they do have to come out and they have to say that the water is not, we can't drink the water for a period of time, then I mean, the kids are going to go to school and they got to drink the water. Our city employees got to go drink the water. I mean, you know, pretty much everybody in town, all the business and everything like that, they got water. I mean, Dairy Queen, you can go get, I mean, they got water in there where you fill up your cup, so it's going to affect every business. So, and actually going to impact the town of Huntington financially, pretty on the bad side. So, we're in a dilemma, folks. We got we're between rock and a hard place. Now, um, I did also in my post to the city manager and the judge. This happened because the fact is that it's an open workshop, which means it's an open meeting. If anybody will check that link that I have on my post, you'll be able to see what the rules of an open meeting is, when they can have a closed meeting, the type of issues that will come up, and how they're supposed to handle them. During every open meeting, okay, there is a time to where the mayor has to allow or ask for people to make comments in on a discussion. Now, this this can be limited from 5 to 3 minutes, depending upon how many people are going to speak. Well, they have to have an idea of how many minutes, so you can sign in to go in, and you'll be guaranteed that time, at least your 5 minutes. But if you don't, you just show up and you want to have something or a question or whatever, then it's up to the mayor's decision to whether to have you talk or not in Huntington. Normally, in every meeting, there is a period of time that the council discusses it, and issues out there, the council discuss it, and then members of the members that are there of the community get to ask questions, or they get to make a point. And don't rant and rave about something that happened 12 years ago. No, that ain't gonna happen. It'll you get kicked out of there. Okay, you have to flow with the meeting, and you have to have it dealing with the current topic right now. Okay, so the current topic we have right now is utilities. So it would behoove you to actually try to get on that list to talk about utilities and ask questions and see how it's going to affect you and your family. Um, the mayor appears, and based on his last statements, he doesn't really like to deal with the general public all in one place. Um, that's his personal preference. You know, he wants to get everything handled where he doesn't have to contact, where we don't have to contact the people, or you know, because I don't know, maybe he don't like confrontation. I don't know, maybe he don't like to answer all these questions, and I don't know what the reason is, but many of his statements and things, he always asks the question, how can we avoid a public hearing, or least effective of how we can avoid the public, you know, coming in or whatever. Well, that issue has never come up because they can get away with it because hell, nobody shows up, so they can just pretty much do whatever the hell they want to do, you know. And mayor, it's not appropriate, or nor is it legal for the mayor to not allow someone to ask questions during an open meeting in a discussion. I asked, you know, when could I discuss these topics or ask questions so I could report back to you guys? The mayor said, well, just email the city manager. I'm like, no, sir. I mean, I got to thinking about that. Now, our female council member, I don't want to mention her name to get her all in trouble, whatever. But anyway, she thought it was a great idea. A big portion, I think all the city council members thought that was a good idea. I think that, you know, they all were in agreement with it, or they, yeah, that sounds like it's a good thing to do. So I approached the mayor, said, when can I allow? He goes, well, just email the city manager. And I'm like, okay, first of all, so I had to make sure when I got home to do my research and everything. And first of all, it's an open meeting. So anyway, you can actually get up there and talk, but the mayor's got to recognize you to be able to talk. You're guaranteed that you can talk if you write your name on a list. So you take a chance that the mayor's going to recognize you or not. If you don't put your name on a list with the city council, you can go up there to Mr. Davis and they've got a form you fill out or whatever. So you can ask questions, you can comment, you can actually personally get up there and state your view on why this is good, why this is that, or whatever, and you can actually participate in the government, um, which is needed. Okay. Now, getting back to the mayor and his situation, I have noticed, and we're very weak in our city council meetings of any kind of procedure. I mean, it's very difficult for these individuals to pick up on parliamentary procedure or how a city council meeting should be run. Now, city council meetings or any organizations held by the government, even your high school board meetings or the PTA or whatever, they are run on the Robert's Rules of Order. Now, this gives an opportunity for everybody that's there to participate in the discussion and also gets all the information out to these individuals so they can come up and conform or approve or deny and state their opinions one way or another. Well, we have a lot to work to do on that. Each member that is up there on the city council that are sitting in a chair have to complete a 1 hour course. It's on a video, and it basically explains parliamentary procedure, the basics anyway. Then there's some things that come up, whatever. But I don't see any council member or anybody, the city manager or the mayor, during a meeting that has a copy of the parliamentary procedure. And when someone makes a motion, they're just winging it, saying, no, you can't talk here. No, you can't talk. No, no. Well, they better get ready because the fact is, I do have a copy and I pretty much know it backwards and forwards. And the way you present information is through Robert's Rules Board. So I'm ready, and that's one of the reasons why I put down in my note to the city manager and the mayor that this is no longer going to be tolerated. I'm not going to longer tolerate this. It's whatever they need to do. If they need to go to their city attorney and get classes or whatever they need to do, they need to get in there and find out what's legal and what they can and can't do in a parliamentary type setting or in a city council type setting. Okay. It has gotten to the point to where, you know what, the city has been, or the city council and our members have gotten to the point to where no one shows up. And the fact is that they can pretty much make their own parliamentary procedures because of the fact that it's only them there. Okay. So they go back and forth, and they can just decide how they want to hold the meeting because they haven't taken into consideration a third party, i.e., being the public being there to encompass them inside of the parameters of the parliamentary proceedings and be thought of and what the responsibility of the council and the mayor is to these individuals, citizens. Okay. So, and I did come down pretty strongly because the fact is that I know that the mayor and I believe I know the city count. I mean the city manager knows. He pretty much runs the meeting, which he kind of has to. I mean, I'm not downing Mr. Stu at all. He kind of has to because the fact is that um, basically our mayor is not really adept on all the things that are presented, and which he should be because it's his meeting and he should be determining what we're going to hear today, what we're not going to hear today, and the whole 9 yards. So so we need to be up to date when we go into a city council member. And I even challenge the council members. It's like the fact is, yes, he's the mayor, and you have to address the mayor. But the fact is that you know what? If you notice something that is not legal in these proceedings, it is your duty. You need to call it out because the fact is that worst case scenario, if something does come up and you just agree with the mayor and he's wrong, then you all are held liable for not speaking your mind or not recognizing on the minutes or for the record that you object to this. And I don't want to be, in other words, you're objecting. I don't want to be a part of this. I know this is wrong. You know, you don't have to change their mind. I mean, I'm not talking arguing to change their mind. Just say, no, I object to this. This is this, and you can actually just withdraw your opinion. Um, and it can be said that you know during a meeting or whatever, if there's not parliamentary procedure being followed, that you can actually remove a council member from these proceedings, and this includes the mayor as well. The motion has to be made by a city council member, but it can be made on the floor by citizens. But I digress. So that's what we're up against right now. Is the fact is that these parliamentary procedures that you know what I'm going to be following up on. I will work that out. I'll take the spearhead on that, and um, I will get a general consensus and let them know our concern about that. Um, which I've already started. The next thing is that we've got. It's up to you. And I'm not pleading. I'm not begging anymore. I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do, what not to do. But anybody who receives this and don't post this or send this to your friends that live in Huntington, I'm sorry. Because I'd like to actually have the word out there before we go and go to the city council, city meeting on this issue, and also be prepared for it and do a little research on it because we're talking about a rate hike here, people. I don't know if that's a big deal to you or whatever, but anyway, it is a big deal in government to actually propose a rate hike. They propose their reason, and it's up to the citizens um, to weigh in on what they feel, how they feel, and what should happen in the whole 9 yards. Um, but like I said, all this stuff is coming in. We're getting hit right now with a rock in a hard place. Like I made a determination a while ago. I showed you, you know, we've been kicking the can down the road for a long period of time, and this has happened during past administrations. And this is what this administration got dealt. This is the hand you got dealt. You know, looks like I got aces and eights, man. Dead man's hand, what it looks like. So it's going to take not only city council to make some decisions here and discuss some items that are not going to be comfortable um, because they don't want to they don't want to hear people bitching, they don't want to hear people complain, and they don't want to really hear any of that. They want to make it as underneath the radar as they can. Um, However, I did and I requested, and I'm going to hold them to it, that any changes we make to utility rates that should be addressed to the public. Um, it should be fully understood why and where this money is going that we're putting in. In other words, there should be a monthly account of how much money our taxes or our rate, our raising rate went toward that fund for the well, just not some general fund. It goes in, that money is set aside for the well. I was I was informed by the city manager that they were going to they were going to try to make it as seamless as possible. They were going to post on the in the paper, and they got to post it on, but um, they got to post this to the internet as well. And at some point, if we are in that dire strait or whatever, at some point, we're going to have to report this to the county and let them know. Now, how is that going to play? Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Where we're at is the fact is that Lufkin does not want to annex Huntington right now because of the problems that we have. They do not want to inherit our problems. Cities, I mean, our commercial interests, people that are interested, that are going to be moving here, are proposing to move here, are still doing studies on where they should move here. This is going to be an issue for them as well, because the fact is, if there's a water problem, that's one of the first things that will scare an investor away. Is we got utility problems, because they don't want to walk in on a situation, put all this money up, and then number three well goes out, and there we go. They can't, you won't be getting a glass of water at a restaurant. I guarantee you that. So, and then at some point, the county's going to have to get involved. Now, if this does hit, okay, I'm speculating, but I did my research on this. If it does come to fact that that well does go out, or we can't properly fix that well, then we don't have the money to properly correct it to get the water here, and we're not going to be able to pay for it. Then our only option as a city is to go bankrupt. Worst case scenario, very worst case scenario, but it's likely. If this $1.3 billion hits us, that we ain't got the money, bankruptcy is looking like one of the other, like a good option, because we can't raise rates high enough on stuff to pay for the bills that we owe. Because the fact is that if we're late on a payment, they're gonna make the payment, then we got to pay interest on top of that, then a late fee on top of it. I don't know how that goes. So it's very important right now that people get out, and if you can't get out, I know people, they can't make the meetings for one reason, whatever, but maybe get the information and take this information, start asking questions through an email. I guess that's the way everybody operates now. Email your council member or whatever with your concerns, and maybe you can get some answers, because they're coming up with, right now, they're actually thinking about all avenues to avoid bad situation that could currently occur. And we have been warned by the city manager. I take it as a warning that, look, here's where we're at, guys. And he presented it to the council in a good way. Look, here, he didn't sugarcoat it. He said, here's where we're at, guys. I mean, we're going to have to do this. So um, I'm going to start spearheading the legal issues or whatever. But our main priority right now, the city of Huntington, is how do we correct this water problem? And it's not just our utilities, but it's also, once we go in and we start spending this money on the water, let's make sure that it's damn sure done right, so we ain't got to worry about no more damn water issues, boiling your water if it's safe to drink. So we don't have to worry about that. So do it the first time, so we don't pass this on to our kids, pass all this debt off to our kids, or take away their amenities. I mean, shoot. I mean, how many kids, go to school? I mean, how many are female softball players and male ball players get out there? They need something to drink. So that's not too much to ask. Now, last thing I'm gonna get off here real quick is the fact is that all of these issues that come up, okay, they come up for a reason, and it is highly, highly being noticed that the fact is that the city council is not getting any input from the city. It is highly being recognized, and I can't blame the city council on this, because the fact is, if nobody speaks up and let us know what the heck they want to do, we're going to have to come up with all this by ourselves. Okay. Now, in other words, the mere appearances of the city council just made this decision without anybody being able to talk about it. Well, we all know that that's not true, because the fact is, you have an opportunity to go up there and you have an opportunity to learn these issues and find out what's going on in your town, and find out where your money's going, and actually find out if you can help fix the situation. I said it many times, you may have an idea nobody's thought about. If you do, now's the time to come forward. If you have sat on your butt and just complained every day about the city and complained about the city, and you're going to complain about this rate hike, and you're going to complain that it's warranted or whatever, but you say the city's not going to do any good, the city's not going to help and do any good, have you tried? Have you tried? Except for going down the boots and bitching about it, or going around town bitching about the utility hike, getting all your panties in a wad because the fact is you didn't say nothing. You know, now's the time you need to go to a city council meeting and let your voice be heard. Because I'll be honest, I learned a lot from city council meetings, and you know what? It's going to get better because the fact is I'm going to insist that it does. I'm going to write notes. I'm going to complain. I'm going to do everything I can that we have a proper city council that reflects proper leadership and professional leadership. But that does not do any good without participating from our citizens. Now, for those of you who do not go to the city council meeting that regards these utilities, for those of you who don't sign up to speak, for those of you who are just going to go, who not even going to go and just say let the chips fall for their way or whatever, but for those of you who choose not to participate, okay, you do not have any right when these rates come out to bitch about the rates. If you have an argument for not raising these rates, if you have an argument that is a point to be made why you don't feel that these utility rates are in order, it's time for you to get up and say so. It is time for you to go to city council, start working with the city council. And I'm not saying you got to play nice with everybody. Me and Mr. Stewart, we butt heads every once in a while. He's trying to feel me out, I'm trying to feel him out, but we're both pushing each other to do the right thing. Because, like I said, it's principles before personalities. Now, it's up to you people. You can sit here and watch the video here, which not too many people will share this video. Nobody will be interested in this video, which appears to me to be happening. But the fact is, at least I'm doing my civic duty. And the next thing is that you know what? I'm doing something, and I'm attending the meetings. I'm getting information, and I'm putting it out to you, and you can take it or you can leave it. Now, I'm not blowing smoke to tell you that trying to be on here getting money. No, I'm not. That's not my job. My job is to make sure they do their job. And we as citizens can't do our job without other citizens participating. We got serious problems getting ready to happen here in Huntington. And if you can't get up and stand up and find out what they are and use your brain to help out the city, correct these problems and get in the middle of it and research and find out, be the first one to call city council on if they're doing something wrong or something illegal. Because that's the way a community works. I don't know how to stress to you the importance of being involved in your city, because you're the individuals who make the change. You're the individuals who are responsible for making change and voting that this change is what we want to have done. Now, city council, go and do it. You cannot sit back and wait for other people to do it no more, because nobody's doing it. You cannot sit and complain about our city council and our sheriff's office and all these people if you're not even participating in it to make it better. There is no reason why that you can't email your councilman. There's no reason why you can't put up, okay, your time to go up to a city council meeting. I bet you if your son or daughter were playing ball, you'd make time to be at that game. But the thing is that, we don't look at it that way. And I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to preach, and I'm not trying to tell you who's right, who's wrong. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm just telling you the way it is. We are going to experience change. And if we're starting off with that change right now, we're already behind the 8 ball. You can take that budget that you have, and I have it over here, and I'm ready to do it right. You take that budget that we have for 2017, you can go out there, you burn pile, and throw it in there because that ain't no good no more. We're winging this, people. And it's about time you guys ante up and kick in. So if I see any of you after this meeting and that rate hike goes up, and I hear anybody, I hear anybody bitching, complaining because the rate hikes went up, and I'm just going to ask them, what, you go to city council meeting? And no, I didn't go up there because you can't. Well, shut the hell up then. It's come down to that. You got to shit or get off the pot. Because if you don't, you can't blame anybody else for the bad things that are happening to you. I don't know how else clear to put it. For you individuals to think that, you know what, I'm just selling my property and leave. Look at your property values. Call your call somebody in rental estate today. Call your appraiser by yourself. I guarantee you when they come out and look at it, your property ain't worth what you think it is. It ain't even worth what you paid for it. There's properties around here all the time that I see. You know what? People just move out. Or they rent them out, or they just leave them vacant. They can't get the money out of it. Why? Because we're not doing anything as citizens to make our properties valuable again. I hope and I pray, okay? Because I really hate to see people just let things go by and not say nothing and just, sit on the bench and just sit there and whine and complain, and then they ain't done nothing. So I'm gonna start calling you out on it. When you complain, you bitch, and you want, well, this. But did you go to the city council meeting? No. Did you write the council member? They write you back. Did you participate in any way that you can? Did you get your word out on what you think? But then if you didn't do all these things, then you're not participating. And you know what? You're part of the me generation that all you want is me, 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 and you're not willing to go through even an effort to actually make it better. So whose fault is that? City councils or ours? It's our city council. We voted them in. They got to listen to us. If they don't listen to us, then guess what? We get them out. We have them impeached, have them removed from office. They work for us. But they can only work for us when you show up to you and do your duty and show up and actually participate in the government. Right now, it is not the city council who's failing us. Because the fact is, the city council has only got a certain amount of information they go off of, and they get it from the higher ups, which are the elites, and that's all the information they get. And that's all they have to base their decision on. Why? Because we do not participate. We do not put our 2 cents in. So I've been too long in this video. I'm very disappointed in Huntington. I really am disappointed because this is one of the meetings that we should have had at least 10 people there, at least. But we can't even get people to go to city council meetings. So for me, if it comes down to me, I am participating the best way I can. I could probably do more, and I will. People ask me, why don't you run for office? Why don't you do this? Why don't you, no, because I got a job in government, okay? I got one of the hardest jobs in government. My job is to make sure they're doing their job. Behind the scenes, under the radar, whatever, but they know that, you know what? I'm going to call them on mistakes they make so they have the opportunity to correct it. And if they don't, and they refuse to correct it, then guess what? We take it to another level. But as I said, this is probably one of the most important videos that I'll make. And you can choose to listen to it, or you can choose to share it. You can choose to do whatever you want to. But right now, we have a potential crisis brewing in Huntington, and we need to have people speak up. And like I said earlier, and I mean it, if you do not participate in government in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it's your job as a citizen of the state of Texas. But you want to bitch and complain about it around me, I'm going to tell you, shut the fuck up. You ain't earned that right.